All right, everybody, grab your coffee because today we're talking about taxes. And if you're an author with taxable income off of your books, then maybe grab some champagne because that's pretty awesome. Except, yeah, you got to pay taxes on your royalties. Hi, I'm MK Williams. I'm an author and independent publisher. I love sharing my insights about all things self publishing with you. Before I get into the details about today's topic, don't forget to hit subscribe. That way, you'll be notified each week as I put out new videos about self publishing, making a career to being an author, and now being a mompreneur. Today, we're going to be going over taxes. So, before I say anything, we're going to have a little bit of fun with disclaimers. So, the first is that I'm going over discussing this from a US point of view. I have no knowledge of foreign taxes or processes or what that's like. Also, I'm not an accountant. Not at all. I don't even play one on TV. Definitely not your accountant. I'm going to be sharing my experiences as an author, trying to make sure I pay the right amount in taxes and some of the common questions I have had over the years. For your specific tax situation, consult an accountant familiar with your county, state, and country. All right? With the new year, many authors of us are getting their taxes together, either to do ourselves or with an accountant. Again, I'm not an accountant, and nothing I'm about to say is tax advice in any way, shape, or form. But I've seen a lot of questions from authors come in or just posted online generally. So I'm going to be going over some answers. Now, I'm releasing this video on January 25th, 2023, because for US citizens, most of your tax documents are due to you by January 31st, whether that's from your day job as a W-2 employee or any of your 1099s from the self-publishing platforms. So if you get to next week and you don't have a form from anywhere that you've received income from this year, log into your account and see if those forms were distributed to you digitally or if they were mailed to you. Sometimes when they're sent digitally, they just are uploaded. Usually you get an email, but that might be sent to spam, so be sure to just log in and check. And if you don't see anything there, email their customer support team to determine if a 1099 or another supporting tax document is going to be provided to you. As I go through some of the questions, I'll be going over that fact that some of these providers do not provide 1099s, even if you made money on that platform this year. Some of them have very high thresholds, or some of them are counting on the fact that they are paying you through a third-party payment service like PayPal to be providing you with documentation. Now, throughout the year, I keep a very thorough track of my income and my qualified expenses. I know exactly how much hits my business bank account, what expenses are going out that are qualified for my author business, but I always double check that against the tax forms that I receive. Now, most of my taxes, since I'm a full-time author, are reported on a 1099. Now, that's either going to be a 1099-C, a 1099 MISC or miscellaneous, or a 1099-K. So let's dive into the common questions that I see that authors have asked and that I've personally experienced. Now, one of the first ones is about which providers provide a 1099. Now, the first question I had the first year that I worked with Ingram Spark is like, where's my 1099? Does Ingram Spark send a 1099? And the answer is, as of this year, no. They do not provide a 1099. So I use the monthly invoices that they send. And it's interesting, it says an invoice, but it's really what they're paying you. So I use those monthly invoices that they send to confirm payment as documentation for the payments I received in that I can provide to my accountant. And it obviously also shows in my bank account. Now, another question that's related to this is, who is Lightning Source and why doesn't my bank show any payments from Ingram Spark? So since you don't get a 1099 from Ingram Spark, you need to report what you were paid, but none of the payments that you're going to receive from Ingram Spark show as Ingram Spark. They're going to show as LSI, standing for Lightning Source. So to simplify, Lightning Source or LSI payments are your Ingram Spark royalties, and your Ingram Spark royalties show as Lightning Source on your bank account statements. So when you're providing documentation to your accountant or entering it into your tax software for doing it yourself, anything that says LSI or Lightning Source, those are going to be the payments to verify coming from Ingram Spark. Okay. Okay, the next question is one that I had to figure out pretty quickly back in 2016 when I was doing my 2015 taxes after my first book came out. So do I count my sales or my earnings for taxes? So in my case, I use earnings. I use what's called cash accounting. So I pay tax on the money that hit my bank account. And the 1099s I received are also based on this. Now, many platforms have a 60 to 90 day payment delay. So let's say you launched your book in November or December of 2022. That big rush of sales that you saw won't impact the 2022 taxes because you're not going to be paid until February or March. So you have not been paid those royalties yet. It's not going to show up on the 1099s that the platforms provide you. And the 1099 is what you want to use because that's what they've reported to the government that you earned. So I use cash accounting for that reason, to kind of align with what I'm receiving from the different platforms. All right, so the next question that I see often about 1099s is, why did I get 2 1099s from Amazon? So if you have your books self-published on Amazon KDP for ebook and print, and also on ACX for audiobooks, you're going to be getting 2 separate 1099s, one for each company. Yes, they are all technically Amazon, but they'll send you 2 separate forms. And then a question that started coming up in 2021 is, why are my royalties from ACX not matching my 1099? So I discovered this one last year. I saw my annual royalties in my own tracking, so I can see which payments came from Audible. And then I cross-referenced the 1099, and the 1099 had more, not much more, but still more. It wasn't enough to impact the amount of tax that I owed. Like, it didn't bump me into the next tax bracket for the marginal tax rate, but it really just could have been like a rounding error, but it was off, and like that hurts my brain. And I was like, no, this is an official document. Like, has to be right. So what I found out is that in 2021, ACX changed their policies that anybody who has a royalty share deal, and one of my books is in a royalty share deal, even though the full royalty from a sale of that audiobook does not hit my bank account, half goes to me, half goes to the narrator, ACX is still reporting that the full royalty as income to me, the author, and that the royalty split with the narrator is going to be included on the 1099. So then I need to keep track of which of the royalties I receive just from that deal and count that the 50% that goes to the narrator as an expense on my taxes. Make it make sense. I don't know why they switched this method. It's infuriating, because that's a lot of really meticulous things to track. And like, again, that money never hit my account. Like, I never actually received that money. I never physically paid it to the narrator. Like, that's the beauty of when you use the royalty share deal and like find a narrator through ACX. They handle the payments. But for some reason, they're saying, nope, as the author, you're paying the narrator, even though ACX handles it. And so that's why your ACX 1099 is going to be off from what actually hit your bank account. So the next question that I see quite a bit, and it's kind of a big one because several platforms will pay through PayPal, whether you're working with Drafted Digital or Smashwords. I use PayHip. They send everything through PayPal. PayPal is just a really big payment provider. And even as I'm working with clients or scheduling through Calendly, it all pays me through PayPal. So in the past few years, I've had to self-report a lot of my income. Now, many entrepreneurs end up having to do this. There's rules that anyone who pays you over $600 in a calendar year has to provide you with documentation and 1099. But some of those people may be small business owners, even just side hustlers who don't have an accountant to create that paperwork, and it costs money. And many of my early clients said, oh, well, I paid you through PayPal and they provide the paperwork. And in theory, that's good, right? I don't want to have my income double reported. I don't want my client to say, oh, I paid you X amount for this work. And PayPal's like, yep, and you received X amount. And then the IRS thinks that I made twice as much. That would be bad. That would not be good. So I'm glad that for some of this mess, but it's also really frustrating to have to self-report your income. But where this all broke down, and this assumption that like, okay, like client's not going to give me a document, PayPal is that they had a very high threshold for both the dollar amount earned. It was like $20,000 and a high number of transactions, like 200 transactions or something. So even if I hit the limit on one part, if I wasn't on the other, I didn't get a 1099 from PayPal and I had to self-report. Now, self-reporting just means I tell my accountant what I made, I keep my documents, I meticulously log everything, which I'm going to do anyways, and I just hope that I don't get audited. In 2022, however, PayPal announced that they would start to provide 1099s for any account with income over $600. Yay! Except now that my payments that come through from Smashwords, from PayHip, from Calendly, for my consults, from other affiliates and all that good stuff, are potentially going to be double counted. Now, the only place where I really see this being an issue is from Smashwords. Smashwords does provide a 1099. Yay! But then I get paid from Smashwords through PayPal, so they're going to report it. So there is a potential for some double reporting this year. It's going to be a little frustrating. but there is going to be reporting, and the majority of what I receive from affiliates and consults and things like that does come through PayPal. So it'll be nice to finally have documentation. So if you get that 1099K from PayPal this year, just double check which payments you received are also going to be providing you with a 1099, so nothing's double reported. Because why make it easy? Okay, that was a lot of tax talk from just an average author, not an accountant, not your accountant. So if you have more questions like this, let me know. Chances are I may have to decline answering if it's clearly a question for an accountant or a tax expert, which I'm not, but maybe I can help at least point you in the right direction. If you found this information helpful, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe or maybe hit that thanks button. That lets YouTube know that you got value from this information, and then they can get it in front of other authors like us. Now you can get back to writing your book. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really found it helpful and informative. And before you head on to watch another video on YouTube, on this channel or another channel, or go back to actually write your book, I want to let you know that I answer a lot of other questions on this channel, really short, to the point, succinct, one question, one answer. But I've pretty much downloaded my brain into my Author Your Ambition books, and you can get these anywhere that you can find books. So whether you're just starting out writing, whether you're figuring out your plan for self-publishing, you're trying to figure out marketing, I pretty much have a book for you. So self-publishing for the first-time author, book marketing for the first-time author, how to write your first novel, and going wide are all available, like I said, anywhere that you can find great books. And you can easily find all the links and the different retailers if you go to authorYourAmbition.com/books. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye.